There comes a point in every man's life when everything he was burns. The comfort, the excuses, the soft walls built around his potential, they crumble to ash. And when the fire has consumed everything fake, something begins to move in the smoke, something real, something forged. That's the beginning of relentless strength. Not when things are easy, not when the crowd cheers, but when you're alone, staring at your own wreckage, deciding to rise again. The gym is not just a place of training, it's a forge. Every rep, every drop of sweat, every silent scream, is the hammer shaping who you are. Pain becomes the fire. Discipline becomes the steel. And your will, your unbreakable will, becomes the anvil that shapes destiny. People see muscles. They see veins, power, the surface. But they don't see the nights you doubted yourself. They don't see the mornings when you could barely stand yet still walked into that iron temple because you refused to die as the same man you were yesterday. You were born in the ashes of yesterday's weakness. You were reborn in the flames of repetition. And now, nothing, not fear, not fatigue, not failure, can take that away. When the world tells you to rest, your spirit tells you to rise. When your mind screams that you've had enough, your heart whispers, not yet. You see, relentless strength is not just physical. It's the quiet refusal to surrender. It's the belief that every scar is a mark of survival. It's the understanding that the body follows the mind, and the mind follows the purpose. Most will never understand what drives you. They'll call you obsessed, extreme, even insane. But obsession is just passion that refuses to settle for average. Insanity? That's what the weak call focus. You don't train for applause. You train for transformation. You train because you've tasted the fire and realized that's where the truth lives. Each set is a conversation between your limits and your potential. Each rep is a question, how much further can I go? And each drop of sweat is an answer, more. The truth is, strength doesn't grow in comfort. Comfort kills potential. Comfort is the silent enemy that whispers, you've done enough. But iron doesn't lie. It doesn't care about excuses. It doesn't care about yesterday's pain. It only asks one question, what will you give today? So give it everything. Give it the anger, the heartbreak, the frustration, the doubt, all of it. Because that's the real fuel. That's what turns weakness into weapon. When you train, you're not just building muscle, you're rebuilding your soul. Piece by piece. Rep by rep. You are becoming something that fear can no longer touch. The world needs more people like that. Not perfect bodies, but unbreakable spirits. Not ego lifters, but soul builders. Not those who chase validation, but those who chase evolution. The gym becomes your battlefield. The weights become your enemies. And every victory is personal, earned, not given. You don't chase shortcuts. You chase scars, because scars remind you that you didn't quit. And when you look in the mirror, you don't see a body anymore. You see a story written in sweat and pain. A story of a man who refused to stay broken. This is the rebirth. Ash and iron. Fire and will. Pain and power. The old you gone. The new you forged. And the journey, endless. There will be days when you fall. When your mind collapses under pressure. When nothing makes sense and your body begs for rest. Those are the moments that define you. Because strength isn't what you show when it's easy. Strength is what you choose when it's impossible. You lift anyway. You grind anyway. You rise anyway. That's what separates legends from the forgotten. The relentless from the comfortable. The wolves from the sheep. You can't fake this kind of strength. You can't imitate this kind of hunger. It's born in the fire of sacrifice. So burn the weakness. Burn the doubt. Burn the hesitation. And rise, forged in ash and iron. Because when you walk out of that gym, drenched in sweat, heart pounding, body shaking, that's not exhaustion. That's rebirth. Every time you break down your body, you rebuild your spirit. Every time you push past the pain, you find another piece of yourself that you didn't know existed. And that's the real transformation, not the body, but the becoming. You are not chasing size. You are chasing strength. Not attention, but evolution. Not fame, but fire. Because real strength isn't loud. It doesn't boast. It doesn't flex for approval. It walks in silence, heavy with purpose. So remember this. When you're drenched in sweat and your hands tremble, you are alive. When your muscles ache and your lungs burn, you are growing. When your heart screams for rest and your will says, no, you are unstoppable. That's where relentless strength is born. Beneath the pain, beneath the ash, within the iron. You are no longer who you were. You've become something eternal, unbreakable, untamed, unstoppable. You are the rebirth of relentless strength. You are the rebirth of relentless strength. Not the kind that fades when life gets hard, but the kind that grows sharper every time it's tested. When the world pushes you down, you rise from the ground with fire in your chest and iron in your soul. Because real power doesn't fear pain, it feeds on it. You've been through storms that tried to drown you. You've walked through fire that tried to break you. And yet, here you are, standing, breathing, fighting. That's what relentless strength means. It's not about winning all the time. It's about refusing to stay down. Every failure you've faced was a lesson in disguise. Every loss was a forge that shaped your purpose. Every scar, a signature of survival. You didn't come this far just to quit when things get hard. You didn't fight through pain, sweat, and doubt, just to settle for comfort now. Relentless strength means you evolve. When you first walked into the gym, you weren't just chasing muscle. You were chasing meaning. You were chasing that feeling of control. The power to create yourself from nothing. And in that process, you discovered something sacred. The body may tire, but the will can become immortal. That's the rebirth. That's the evolution. That's relentless strength. The world outside the gym doesn't understand it. They see plates, bars, mirrors, numbers. But you see battlefields. You see pain as the path. Failure as the teacher. Discipline as the only language worth speaking. Because once you've been forged by the weight, you see the world differently. You stop running from difficulty. You start chasing it, because you know that's where growth hides. You stop fearing the struggle, because you are the struggle. You are the proof that the human spirit cannot be broken. Relentless strength is not perfection. It's persistence. It's being stronger today than you were yesterday. Even if the difference is invisible to everyone but you. It's doing one more rep when your arms shake. It's running one more mile when your lungs burn. It's saying, I will, when your mind whispers, I can't. And when that voice of weakness comes back, when it tells you you've done enough, you look it in the eye and say, I'm not done until I become what I'm meant to be. You are not made of flesh alone. You are made of choices, of moments where you refuse to quit, of the mornings you rose before the sun, of the nights you trained while others slept. Those moments built you. Not the applause, not the results, not the image. The quiet grind built you. The struggle built you. The pain rebuilt you. And now every time you lift, you are not training a body. You are awakening a soul. That's why the word relentless matters. Because it means you don't stop, ever. You adapt, you endure, you rise. You don't complain when it hurts. You embrace the hurt like an old friend. Because it reminds you that you're still alive. Still in the fight. Still becoming the version of yourself that fear can't touch. That's not just fitness, that's philosophy. That's not just muscle, that's mindset. That's not just training, that's transformation. Every rep is a resurrection. Every set is a new beginning. Every moment you push beyond your limit, you're reborn. You've died 1,000 small deaths in the gym. And every single time, you came back stronger. That's the beauty of iron,